would be your kind of the things that stand out in your mind?
Okay, the first time I heard about i매진컵 was i매진컵 2006 in India, and that's the first time I entered i매진컵 as a high school student. The the theme was to solve the health problem using technology, make a world healthier using technology. And at the time, I was in Japan and I had a hotel cleaning job. And I had a friend from Kenya who always ate the cheapest ramen noodle. And I offered him to buy some food, but he said, "No thanks. I am so blessed. I can eat until I'm full." And I just stopped for a moment and I was like, is it crazy? How would anyone feel blessed in working 15 hours a day and eating only ramen noodles? But then I had to stop and think for a moment that have I or have anyone around me said I am so blessed because I have food to eat. I mean, I thought like we are thinking like foods are so guaranteed, like it's our right to eat something, but oftentimes we just ignore the social problems such as famine and world hunger and other problems because that's not my problem. That's something that happens like in the backside of the earth that doesn't affect me. So if I think about it, I will feel guilty, so I just run away from it. And at the time, I just felt like I had to do something. And I started to research for like why famine has been solved yet. There is so much money, like $400 billion are spent each year to solve the world hunger, but it still remains a problem. So I thought that maybe like we need some other approach. Maybe like right now we're just sending food and like approaching from social aspects, but maybe we can use technology because it opens up all the possibilities. And I found a news article from United Nations FAO saying that insects are the best substitute food for next generation. And I thought maybe using technology, we can make it happen. Like we can make African people or other people who are suffering from hunger to become self-sufficient using our technology. And the theme of i매진컵 was like perfect fit for that, like applying technology to solve the real problem that really broadened my eyes. At the time, I didn't know how to program. That's the beginning of my programming experience to apply it, to solve it. And I entered i매진컵 2006 in Korea and my team won the first place in high school division. And at the time, it was just like first step. Like we were thinking this is our trial for a competition. But after the competition, the judges' comments and all the people around us gave us so much courage and other comments. So we thought maybe we can really do something. We can really expand and move on this to another stage and really make it happen. So yeah, that's how it went on.
Okay. So it's a pretty radical solution, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at I can remember probably before you were born actually, in the early 80s, when were you born?
88.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So 4 years before you were born, I remember the first Live Aid concert, right? And the terrible stories we were hearing from Africa,
Yeah.
you know, Sudan,
Mhm.
Ethiopia, where people just couldn't get any food. But at no time
Mhm.
did anyone ever do anything other than just deliver crops,
Yeah.
short-term aid,
Sure.
which you pointed
Mhm.
out. And also, even if they were trying to do kind of infrastructure projects,
Mhm.
it was things like improve the water supply,
Mhm.
you know, create irrigation channels,
Mhm.
educate farmers
Mhm.
to modern methods of farming,
Mhm.
etc. So how on earth
Mhm.
did you get to the point of thinking, we'll go with this Beatles solution. You just read this somewhere.
Mhm.
The second substitute was, so that must have, no, it just didn't come to you. It's like,
Mhm.
there's got to be some research, you must have a starting point.
Mhm.
And then decide that actually what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a breeding solution from a technology point of view.
Mhm.
How did that whole process work out? I mean, was it just a luck inspiration thing, or was it just lots and lots of research?
I would say lots and lots of research. I mean, my first question was that why aren't they self-sufficient? In Africa, there are lots of people, like lots of organization and lots of helps coming to make them self-sufficient, but they're not self-sufficient. So I found that in Africa, there's not much water. not much fertile land and not much manpower either. Like many people think there should be many people in Africa, so there should be much manpower. But due to the AIDS and other wars, there lack of manpower and also locust crisis. So I was thinking that why should we like still like stick on growing crops for food if there's so much obstacles that blocking to become self-sufficient from using crops? And actually in Korea, people eat insects. It's called bandegi or other. We eat locusts too. Like some people eat locusts too, and especially during the early ages, like 20 or 30 years ago when there's war and people were hungry, like they ate insects. But right now, if I say, oh hey, like what about using insects for food? They say, ooh, how on earth would you eat this while we are eating the insects? So I was thinking the definition of food may not be something that's fixed. It's fixed because people's cultural experience and their So I found the research paper comparing like lists of 192 most commonly eaten insects in Africa, and also found that like in Africa, especially for little kids, they're so hungry they just grab any insects and eat, and they often get harmed and often get sick from eating any insects blindly. So I'm thinking by picking the best insect and breed them inside, they will get all year on research for food, and also the food that is very safe and that is very reproductive. So that's how it began.
So we're talking about the Lucidinae beetles?
Lucanidae. Yep.
Lucanidae.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry, Lucanidae. Okay. And the logic seems to be pretty strong, actually, that if they're eating insects anyway, because they know there isn't enough
Yeah.
grain
Mhm.
and other crops.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to sort of get an idea of the kind of scale of your ambitions, because we've had a few projects where people have said we want to solve the world hunger problem.
Yeah.
And it's a very laudable
Mhm.
ambition.
Mhm.
Nobody would ever argue with it.
Sure.
But you've had governments around the world
Mhm.
scratching their heads
Mhm.
to the issue. You've had celebrities
Mhm.
trying to tackle the issue,
Mhm.
politicians.
Mhm.
So what makes you think that this has the potential
Mhm.
to do what those politicians, celebrities,
Mhm.
and other people just haven't been able to do?
Mhm. Okay. Our slogan is food for freedom and freedom for food. What this means is, like when you talk about food and giving food for the starving children, there are like many approaches. But let's say there's an organization that trying to give food for the area where there's dictators. They have very hard time answering it, and like if they provide food for the normal people, like the government will take away. Like food is a weapon to control people for them. And I really hated the idea. I mean, in Africa, in a small town, like girls older than 7 years, there's no virgin girls older than 7 years because they sell their bodies for food. And I abhorred the idea of using food as a source of weapon. So I was thinking self-sufficiency is the main key. And by using it, I mean, if you need a food for like preparing for war, would you grab the insects away, take insects away from their house and provide that food? No, because insects will soon die and they will become not edible. So it's some food source that nobody can take away, and it's some food source that has potential to become self-sufficient. So that's the key point I focus on. Hmm.
So, okay, understand all that.
Sure.
And then, I guess one of the things I'm trying to, so you're from Korea, right? Yeah, and
You're right.
you live in Korea
Yeah,
at the moment?
I live in Korea.
So how did you all get together as a team? Because you study in the US, and you went to obviously the Korean team. So how did you guys all meet? How did you meet?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. I took a gap year after.
No, it's okay.
하고 내가 그 와플 프로젝트 원래 소프트웨어 프로젝트였다.
My hand has
내가 참여했다라고 그다음부터 생각해.
응?
그러니까 저 어떻게 만드는지 모르고
Hmm.
그거 한 다음에
Okay, we'll answer. Okay. After I'm freshman in college now, Columbia University, and after I graduated high school, I took a gap year. I deferred a year to focus on projects and spend more time with my family. So I came back to Korea, and during the time, I went to a software engineering course, and I met Kim there, and we started to build another version of our project. And actually at the time it was like a software that is very easy and that helps people to research how to breed insects for food. And at the time, like, what we found was in Africa people don't know how to use computers and it's really hard for them. So we thought another potential in embedded system, like using embedded system, if we build totally automated system, we don't have to educate the African people how to breed insects and how to use computer and all that. And for that purpose, like, Youngbu has experience of building robots and other embedded systems, and Shinsang has experience in image recognition. So we met all together and started to building this project.
Do you not want to be interviewed?
Sorry.
I'm very conscious of
이거
the fact that
맞아요?
if you're going to be sat there, you will need to say something, otherwise it'll look
Sure.
very weird. So, is there a question that you're more comfortable answering? Just because we can probably just do that now if you like. So, why don't we do this? So, what's your specific role on the project? What is it that you?
Originally, Waffle project is Yunji's.
Yeah.
I designed and refined Yunji's software project and to design and sorry.
어떤 말을 하고
그냥
싶은데 내가 만들어줄까
뭐지?
말을?
처음에 원래 와플
아니 그냥
프로젝트
쉽게 뭐 이 박스에 들어갈 소프트웨어를 설계하고 컨트롤을 설계했다. 그럼 돼요.
I designed the Waffle controller and Windows C software and management.
Sure. 괜찮아. 잘하고 있어요.
I'm
It's doing good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't
Sorry.
speak Korean. I can barely speak English, frankly.
Come on.
Talk to my colleagues, you know that. Okay. So, I really want to go back to where we were. What I would like to understand is the scale of your ambitions.
Okay.
Because, to my earlier point, solving the world hunger problem, massive, big ambition, love the idea. How would you see it practically working? Are you looking at, well, first off, big question, have you ever eaten a beetle?
Yes.
Have you eaten a specific type of beetle?
Yes.
What does it taste like?
It's tasty. Like if you bake them right.
Really?
Mhm.
So how do you cook them?
Actually, like they contain lots of oil in it, so you just burn it, and you can eat it too. But I mean, actually, like people hate the idea of eating insects, so they don't look for it. But actually, there's a recipe for making food out of insects. There's cookbooks, and there are field of study called entomophagy, study of eating insects. So there has been lots of attempts to make insect eating more pleasure, and yeah, there are tons and tons of forms of eating insects. And remember, I brought cookies for using Lukeni Day. I cooked them. I brought it here. Yeah, and that's one of my recipes too. So
So you actually gave out cookies?
yeah,
Beetle cookies?
yes. Actually, since 2 years ago, no, actually 2.5 years ago, I entered a competition called ISAP, Intel whatever. Yeah, I7. I met a judge gave me a name of Dr. Alan Yis. He's a volunteer doctor in Gabon, and he was deeply like involved in our project because he actually had a little girl patient like who died from eating poisonous insect. I mean, she wouldn't have died because the poison is not strong enough, but she was malnutrition and her immune system was broken. He couldn't save her, so he felt deeply about her and about our project. So he gathered our other missionaries around Gabon, and they started to catch looking eggs and breed them for food. And I got a phone call from him one day, and he said they baked cookies out of looking eggs and gave it to children. And they said the cookies were gone before they set the basket on the table. And I was like so happy. I was hearing that like just like my friend from 4 years ago, the children in Gabon are saying, "I am so blessed. I can eat until I'm full." I was hearing the voices of the children. So I baked cookies and brought it here to reflect the memories at the time. But yeah, it's actually going on. And starting from September, our project will be receiving seed funding from Earth Institute. So yeah, it's gonna move on from there too.
What makes you care so much about this problem?
In the beginning, it was just something to think about. It was just, I don't know, I was trying to find a rightful reason to run away from this project because it's long and it's troublesome, hard, and there's not much return. I mean, I can't make lots of money out of it. So I was trying to run away, but then I found that the reason that I can't find the solution is not because there's no solution, but because I am just seeking for reasons to run away. And I didn't like that. I had to stop doing that, and I really had to focus on finding some answer for that. And during the process, I mean, I just consistently forced myself.
I didn't understand the point you meant about running away.
Okay. There's a world hunger problem. I know if I want to, I can try to solve it. But also I know that it's a big problem and it takes lots of time and lots of effort to solve it. And plus, it's not really my problem. I mean, I will not starve if I don't solve this problem. So I was like, why me? Why should I do this project? Why should I spend my time and effort and all these things on this project? So, who would like that? I didn't either at first. So that's why I tried to find a reason that I do not have to solve this problem. And yeah, that's the meaning of yeah.
And what changed your mind?
Throughout the 4 years that I constantly forced myself to be involved in this project, I met so many people who cares about the world hunger. I met so many friends who actually had their family member and themselves and other friends starving from all over the area. And their voices and their stories touched my heart. And it was like after like 1 or 2 years, it was no longer not my problem. It was my problem and my friend's problem, and it was my other relatives' problem too. So it became my problem. That's the key point. And right now, I just have so many people helping us, and I hear so many voices that we have to move on, and that's the main force that keeps us to move on.
Almost sounds a bit like a kind of a campaign or a crusade, That's a world away from entering a technology competition, even one with really ambitious goals. It's, you could develop a project and you could say, well, it speaks to this particular millennium because it's about this. And we've seen some competition like that this year, and all the competitions actually. But it feels like you're trying to do something. I hate using the cliche because it is a cliche, but it feels like you're trying to change the world, which is, how old are you? If you don't mind my asking. Never ask a lady your age, but how old are you now?
I am I'm 21 now. Yes.
See, what strikes me that's different about you and your team actually is there's a kind of a world understanding that some of the other teams just don't have. And I wonder where that comes from, because I understand what you're saying about the 4-year journey and so on.
Yeah.
But I still want to understand a bit more. It just feels different. understand. Okay, let's go forward a minute.
Okay.
What is it that is keeping you going now? Because you talked about the experience that you had along the way, whereby you met people who'd had these desperate stories, and it went from being something that you looked at as a problem in the world, but not your world, if I can paraphrase you, to getting more and more sort of personal stories which meant more to you, to the point where you went from the point of, yeah, I'm concerned about this, to taking action about it. Is that an accurate description of what you said?
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, yeah.
So you went from a point of, this is a problem.
Yes.
You identified the problem, to, no, I care about this problem, over the course of those 4 years maybe, to the point where you felt you had to take some kind of positive action. Right? This is what I think is happening. But I still, it's very hard to maintain something like that for such a long period of time.
It's not long. 4 years is long.
Well,
I'm just making baby steps.
Because I mean, well, you're 21 years old, and 4 years is still quite. It's almost a fifth of your life, isn't it? Fifth of your life, or your life? I can't know.
Yeah, fifth.
Fifth. Yeah. So how far are you going to take this? I mean, how far would you take this in terms of? Let's imagine. Look forward. Let's say you whether you win or lose today, right? What's the next step for you? What do you envisage doing next?
I mean, there's not gonna be much changes because, I mean, ImagineCup is a great place and it's our honor to participate here. But we entered because the theme and the goal of ImagineCup was so perfect fit for us, and we wanted our voice to be heard, and we wanted to share our vision with other projects, other students too. But we're gonna make the same steps, I believe. And I mean, if I stick on this idea, if I think Looking Days are the perfect solution, the only solution, and I have to do this using Looking Days, blah blah blah, I might quit. I mean, if I find something that says or shows that Looking Days are not good food source or whatever, there might be some reason that we cannot use Looking Days for food, or there might be other obstacles too. But if I think this is the only solution, then there's a chance that I will stop. But I know that this is not the only solution. I mean, there has to be. This is our fourth version, meaning we had 3 unsuccessful attempts, and we hope our fourth version, the version that we brought here, we hope to call it another unsuccessful attempt, and then we will be able to build something better, something that's more possible, something that's more real. And even if Looking Days or insects are not the ultimate solution for world hunger, we're gonna make the further steps using technology to apply for world hunger or other social problems. And the people like around us, our friends who hear about our stories, I want to innovate them. I want to challenge them to apply their technology and their ideas to solve the world problem too. I mean, technology has really great potential, and I just don't feel it's right to use only social tries to solve the world problem. And I think, like this ImagineCup competition, I think by just letting other people know that there are people who are trying to solve the world problem using technology will awaken lots of people who's smarter than us and who has more high technology than us. And if they and more people make the same steps to solve the world problem, the world will become a much better place with technology. Yes.
That's like a wrap-up statement. But I'm not finished.
Sure.
So can I give you the microphone? Can you explain how the project would work? Are you able to talk us through the actual physical workings of the project? So how, and also how? I mean, it's like a breeding fund kind of concept. So where these breeding funds would be in your idea? Sort of?
Individual households.
Right. Okay. So it's an individual household system.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So can you just describe that for us? Is that okay?
Yeah.
우리 시스템 그러니까
Describe.
각자의 집에 그러니까 각자의 가족마다 하나씩 이 브리딩 케이지가 들어올 거고 사슴벌레하고 그런 것들을 지역까지 다 프로바이드 할 거고 그러면은 뭐 사슴벌레들이 뭐 다 좋은데 뭐 온도하고 습도라든지 그런 서든 체인지에 약하다 그런 것들을 자동으로 케어해주는 시스템이다 뭐 적은 전력을 사용할 거고 뭐 이 시간에 찍어보다 그 PT 때 있던 거 그대로 하면 돼요.
힘들다.
일단 해봐. Like if he makes mistake, he can
Yeah.
do it again, right?
We can do it. Many
Sure.
times as you want.
Sure.
음.
응.
Our system is automatic self-evolve system, and people cannot. No.
Just carry on making it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
시간 많아요. 생각하고 말할 때. He can take his time, right?
Yeah, take as you want. We don't want to
It's
keep
just a
you.
little bit nervous because it's in English.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's totally fine. Honestly, it's not a problem. And you've got plenty of time.
Yes, thank you.
Ah, the showcase is over. It's okay.
뭐라고 해? 정말 모르겠다.
그냥 PCT 하던 거 그대로 하면 돼요, 말 그대로. 이거 방금 했던 말. 그러니까 뭐 아프리카인가 뭐 사슴벌레를 키우면 더 좋은데 뭐 환경면에 민감하다. 그러면 뭐 각 집마다 하나씩 뭐 시스템을 갖다 놓고.
너가 해라.
아니
몇 번 보는 거죠?
응?
마지막이라고 지금 하는 거.
순서에 따질게 할 거고.
Okay. We've got a suggestion.
Yeah.
Why don't you do it in your own language? And then could we do a translation after?
Sure.
Yeah, and then we can put subtitles.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
Does that work?
Sure.
Yeah. So I won't know what you're saying. But
Yeah.
say whatever you like, and then I'll need you to translate it afterwards.
Great idea.
Thanks.
Cameraman.
우리 와플 시스템은 자동으로 어떤 사슴벌레를 사육시킬 수 있는 시스템으로 각 집집마다 저희 우리 와플 시스템이 하나씩 있으면 자동으로 이제
지역 관리자가 그러니까 셋업 프로세스부터 유저 시나리오를 부르세요. 유저 시나리오만 부르세요.
So we're doing another take.
Yeah, another.
That bit. Okay. Help the editor because he won't know what is at in the beginning. That's fine.
잠깐만. 처음부터
유저 시나리오.
이제 시나리오.
사슴벌레를 키우는 데는
This is your friend,
하고.
and there's lots of people watching.
Yeah.
Just imagine that this guy is very interested in what you've got to say. Forget there's a camera there. Just imagine you're talking to him
Yes.
or me.
Yeah. 사슴벌레를 사육하는 데는 그 온도와 습도 그것들이 이제 민감하게 변하게 되면 사슴들
Yep.
다시 할게.
You're gonna be
긴장되는 것 같아. 사슴벌레가 자라기 위해서는 그 온도와 습도에 민감하지 않은 그 환경을 구축해야 되는데 우리의 와플 시스템은 그러한 온도와 습도 그 다음에 개체수를 파악하여서 최적의 환경을 제공해 줍니다. 그 다음에 예를 들어 온도가 급격하게 변한다거나 할 때는 예를 들어 온도가 급격하게 변하면 다시 할게.
Do you want to pick it up from there?
Sorry.
Do you want to pick it up from there where you were? So what he said before was fine, was it?
오케이. 야.
And then we can
지금
just say,
끊어진 데부터 다시.
okay, so Michael, instruction to the editor. We're going to pick it up from here and then we're going to carry on. Okay? So just pick up from where you left off
Yeah.
rather than doing the whole thing again.
Yeah.
아니
끊어진
진짜
데부터.
끊어진 데부터.
온도가 급격하게 올라갔을 때는 우리는 그 미안하다.
Do you want to take a quick break?
Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Break
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, do you want to take a
Yeah.
quick break? Just take a quick 5 minutes now.
우리 와플 시스템은 사슴벌레를 사육하기 위한 자동화된 시스템입니다. 사슴벌레는 급격한 온도 변화와 습도 변화가 있을 때 개체수가 현격하게 줄어들게 되는데 이러한 급격한 온도, 습도 변화를 막을 수 있는 자동화된 시스템이 바로 와프리 시스템입니다. 와프리 시스템이 고장이나 어떤 오동작을 일으켜 시스템이 불안해지면 웹상의 실버라이트 페이지를 이용해서 그 상황을 보고할 수 있고 보고된 상황을 지역관리자가 파악하여 상황을 조치할 수 있는 완전 자동화된 시스템입니다.
One take. Well done.
He was preparing.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. It's totally fine. Right. So let's pick up where we were, and then we'll finish.
Sure.
Okay. So. Where were we? No, sorry. So we've talked about the goals. We've talked about the origins of the project, the long time of development, and all the different iterations. We've talked about a little bit about the impact you want to have. What do you believe the next few years are going to look like for this project? And what would be a measure of success for you?
What would be what?
A measure of success.
Measure of success.
What would success look like?
That's a hard question.
I know. But you're more capable of answering it.
But I never thought I am successful or I am not successful. This is just steps to go forward. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain measure of success.
What's your hope for the project?
Okay. Alright, so starting from this September, I will gonna make a small group within our university and like you're part of Earth Institute project. And probably next year during the summer, I hope to go to Africa, possibly Gabon, for more research and actual launch of the project. And yes, I want to gather lots of people, and I want to meet other people like who are working on the same problem and share their views and share, like, see the things that I cannot see from their insights and apply it to our project and just make it real. Small steps, move forward, and that's my goal.
Two final questions. It's the same question, but in reverse.
Sure.
First question is, what would it be like for you if you won this competition?
It'll feel great. I mean, we're so glad that, our project is kind of awkward. I mean, it's hard to get at the first sight because people abhor the idea of eating insects. I mean, for people, insects are not food. But we are so glad that we made it final, not just because we are finalists, but also because that means people like who heard our voices, who heard our presentation, they thought there's a potential, there's a possibility that using insects may be a key to solve the world hunger. We're so glad that people understand our idea, and by winning this competition, it means that not just few people, but many people share the same view, and they think like our project is possible, and that means a great deal to us. And by that, like, as people hear more about our project, we will have more opportunities to hear about our project, hear the more ideas, hear the challenges, hear the problems of our project from other people's point of view, and that means a lot to us.
Opposite side of the question then. What happens if you don't win?
Doesn't matter. I mean, we worked hard. I mean, for 2 months, he went back to his house. I mean, he was in school for a whole 2 months, and all our team members worked really, really hard. But I believe, we'll be sad because we didn't win, but we earned so much more. We earned so much more great experiences, and we shared the time, and we shared the same vision, same view, and same goal for the project. So yeah, we'll get over and we'll start another. We'll make more steps to move forward.
Sorry.
No, you did great.
You did really well. So, thank you, first off. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
The best of luck.
Thank you.
it'll be an experience, whatever happens.
Yeah.
It's not every day you can say I was at a competition at the pyramids with it all lit up and the music and the spectacle and stuff. And yeah, thank you for all the help you've given us this week. It's been great to be able to follow
Thank
you guys.
you.
And I do hope you achieve your aims because I think they're important. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Now we need a translation for that section.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.